So looks like we are pretty much there. I'm just waiting for it to open.
Okay, well, take your time.
Alrighty. It's showing us. We are pretty much there. I'm just waiting for it to open. All right, we're live. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, unmute yourself because I muted you. Unmute yourself. Say
How do
something. Yeah, I
yeah.
hear you now.
Yeah. You hear me?
Yes. Well, welcome everybody. This is Shypanther and Friends Special Edition on this Friday, uh, October 16, 2020. And we have a great show for you today. And as a lot of you probably, I was trying to get on and I could not yesterday. We had internet problems. Hopefully they're solved. And stick around for the next hour. We have a great show with Dr. Okunuga, and he'll be talking everything about the heart health, how we can get there and stay there. All righty, so in case this is your first time ever being part of Shypanther and Friends Show, just let you know we're normally here on Thursday evenings at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And from time to time, we have special edition shows for people who are busy. So are busy at the 7:30 time anyway. And just to let you know, our whole purpose for being here is to provide quality programming. And we do that by setting a goal to uplift, to educate, and empower. And also, I'd like to let you know that you can reach out to the show at shypanthermediagroup.org. And you can also reach us at Shypanther and Friends Show with the #1 at Gmail. Okay. Wow. We have a lot of things going on right now. We're still in the middle of the pandemic. Our numbers were down and they're going back up because of our surrounding states. We have a lot of states that are pretty much, they're advising us if we go there, we visit, then when we get home, when we come back to Chicago, we have to quarantine for 14 days. So, I mean, we have that going on. We're right at the door of a general election. So that has a lot of issues in there. And then on top of that, we have our regular issues that we have all the time as far as health concerns, heart disease, we have high blood pressure, we have obesity problems. So man, we have to face a lot of things, and stress, high stress levels. And hopefully today we'll get some great advice on how to deal with a lot of these things and move toward a healthy heart. If we can't do anything else about all those other factors, one of the main things that we have some control of is how we eat and our lifestyle and things like that. So let's welcome our guest, Dr. Tunde Okunuga. Welcome. I don't know if I said your last name, I'm practicing. And I've been trying to get your last name together. So
Yeah, Tunde
so how
Okunuga. I'm good. Huh?
Good. So I'm so happy that you could be here today. And you're normally busy teaching. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
I'm a physician, and I pretty much lean towards the heart and the blood vessels. And currently, I'm in the teaching field. I do the writing as a columnist for some magazines, and then of course I'm an instructor with American Heart Association. Teaching those the medical professionals to resuscitate those who can be resuscitated. And I teach the physicians, the physician assistants, and the nurse practitioners to be able to do that. So I have an independent certification with them, and I have to issue them a card Otherwise, they would not be able to continue to practice.
Wow.
And then,
Okay.
outside of that, I help people holistically to manage certain, or possibly to cure some of their, disease conditions. I mean, without leaving anything that might look like a side effect or contraindication. Because it's holistic, so it's basically non-toxic stuff. The
Okay.
combination we use, yeah.
Okay. That's great. So you can advise us a little bit on this, right? The holistic approach to a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. The orthodox medicine is not the best form of medical practice because all the medications we give in the hospital are toxic and they don't really cure the disease, but they're only there to manage the symptoms. And there are people who might even, die because of this side effects and not the underlying disease that the medication is supposed to treat.
Right.
So
I agree.
you know,
Yeah.
the holistic medicine, which is also called the alternative medicine, goes
Okay.
a long way to resolve on people's diseases, and it would actually remove whatever underlying disease that they have, and therefore improve lifestyle.
Okay. I definitely agree with you about a lot of medications cause secondary conditions. And I found that to be true. All you have to do really is research the medication that a lot of doctors prescribe. Say, for instance, for example, for high blood pressure or for diabetes or pre-diabetic conditions, I think those medications cause secondary health issues. So,
Yes. Yeah, there are many of them that would even cause not just one, but just a bunch of other diseases that they can actually bring upon you. And it's like at some point in time, you want to ask, why are you taking those medications when they actually make your condition worse and could actually cause you to die, even before the real disease could even cause you any, life-threatening conditions.
right. Well, with the Center for Disease Control says 1 of every 4 deaths in the U.S. In 2017 was the result of heart disease. So, what do you? How can we change that?
That is tied to lifestyle.
Okay.
Most especially the dietary intake. What I found out is that a lot of people, they just don't care what they put in their mouth, and sugar is number one most toxic dietary composition that we put in our system. It's profoundly toxic, and if it was like a good type of sugar, maybe the one that comes from natural sources, maybe it would have been okay. But there's nothing that we eat that's supposed to be that whitish. Nothing comes from the farm that's supposed to be white. I mean, sometimes you have to also think about that too. But you see, the most important thing we have to do in order to help in improving our health is to, first of all, decrease our sugar intake. And then, of course, every other food. Some people, they want to cook some rice, some beans, they put plenty of sugar. I mean, it's like they're not even getting the taste of rice anymore, but the taste of
Mhm.
sugar. And that could
Okay.
actually cause.
Now you said something. You said most of our foods shouldn't be white, and if they are, that means that they've been through some process. Is
Some
that
bleach.
right? Like something's been removed, like the sugar, the salt,
The
our
bleach,
rice, our bread. Say it
they,
again.
they contain bleach.
Wow.
They have to
Okay.
bleach it to be that white. Nothing of natural origin is that white. I've not
Okay.
never seen anything that becomes that white. I mean, they have to have some kind of a color to it. But we now have sugar that they literally color, and they call it brown sugar. But we all know what that's all about.
Well, no, tell me. Tell us
It,
what it's
it,
all about.
it's colored. It's colored just to
So the
give
brown
you.
sugar is colored. So what about those raw sugars that, when we see in the brown packages in the stores, is that just a joke? That's
There's
just as bad as any other sugar?
another thing you have to know is that you don't everything you see, you have to probe into it, because they tell
Okay.
you on sweetened, juices, that there's no sugar in it, but it's still tasting sugar.
Yeah,
So they say there's no sugar, but it's tasting sugar. So what else would taste like sugar for sugar?
blood sugar. Right.
Mhm.
And I've seen that so many times because my mom is diabetic and she's on insulin. So I'm always looking for sugar-free everything or no sugar added. And just because it says no sugar added, it really does not mean there's no sugar in it. Because once you look at the label, you will see there is sugar in it.
Yeah, and
So,
the sugar is so it's not the right type of sugar that our system, should be fed with, because our system is more natural than, to be thinking about processing something that is synthetic. So,
okay.
take some natural substances, it works well with your system. Our system will be able to absorb it, and, without leaving any toxic effect behind.
Okay, so we should look for, well, whatever is natural. And I mean, just in the little research that I've seen, they say that sugar feeds cancer cells. And I mean, that
That
alone should,
mhm. that that's
that
the
alone should, you
that's the
want to have
reason.
not
That's one of the reasons why most people with sugar that contain a lot of sugar on daily basis, they're more prone to having diabetes. And apart from the fact that sugar feeds the cancer cell, diabetes is a situation where sugar that's supposed to have been, you know, absorbed into your tissue from the bloodstream. The insulin that's supposed to do that is not doing it the right way. So most of the time, sugar keeps moving around your bloodstream. And insulin, because insulin is not doing what it's supposed to do, what happens is that insulin would also be there in the bloodstream without doing what it's supposed to do. So a lot of people who are diabetics, they're treating them with insulin, not because they do not have insulin, but insulin is not doing what it's supposed to do. So extra insulin, they're just trying to like have more mobilization of insulin. Maybe they will be able to do more effects of pushing blood sugar into the tissue for tissue metabolism. But you see, both the sugar feeds cells that are cancerous, and also insulin itself is a growth factor, meaning that insulin promotes cell proliferation, and cell proliferation is cancer. So
Oh my God.
once the cell is producing in multiples, then it also feeds on the sugar that is in the bloodstream. So those with diabetes are more prone to having cancer.
Wow. So help us, Dr. Tunde. What can we do to help get away from, because becoming diabetic is gonna damage your heart too. Am I right? Or
Yes,
can damage your heart?
because what happens with the heart is this: the sugar that's supposed to have been pushed into your tissue is not leaving the blood circulation. It's sitting in the blood circulation. At some point in time, every sugar, they begin to stick to the wall of the blood vessel, causing clogs. It's like obstruction to blood flow. Not just the blood flow, but lipids also. The carrying capacity of your blood vessel now of lipids is going to be decreased. Your blood vessel cannot clear lipids as much as if it was not clogged up. So the sugar clogs up your blood vessel, and because of the narrowing effect that would eventually mean to your blood vessel, the heart is pumping blood upstream into already narrowed blood vessels. And once that happens, the heart is going to be going through more workload to be able to help to push the blood through your circulation. And that increased contractility in the heart is actually what is called hypertension.
Okay, so what can we do in our daily lives to help us be healthy? I mean, just beginning.
One of the very few things that we must do is to make sure that we improve our lifestyle by making sure that we, a lot of people can't stop eating, but you must make sure that you exercise to enhance, circulation of blood within your system. And then, of course, it would also speed up digestion of whatever food you might have eaten. And then, of course, you have to also cut down on sugar, because sugar is actually more toxic than lipids, than fat. It's more toxic. And that situation there is a very difficult situation. Most importantly, if you can decrease the ingestion of sugar and then, carry out some physical exercises on a daily basis, like the Caucasians do, as well as the people of Asian descent, and we're going to see a lot of improvements in our lifestyle. But the Black population, the Hispanic population, as well as the Pakistanis, Indians, very high prevalence of diabetes. The prevalence of diabetes is more with the Hispanic population than any other known population.
Is it because of a higher carbohydrate intake?
Actually,
Or
what my article on diabetics is pretty much on corn. Corn is all GMO, and corn is made up of maltose. Maltose is glucose, glucose. That's the
whoa,
disaccharide that make up the maltose, and it's like and the glucose, it's like they all require insulin to be able to help in pushing them out of the blood vessel. But excessive consumption and with less mobility or exercise. If you look at the Hispanic population, they eat tortilla, they eat tamales, they eat corn on the cob, they eat corn. Is like what forms the most basic, daily consumption. And in the same token, the people of African West Coast, the Ghanaians and the Togolese, they have a real high prevalence of diabetes because everything they eat is corn based. And then corn is what they use to make the corn oil. And that's even more toxic because the corn itself does not have fat, but they had to hydrogenate it. And that's like synthetic. So that causes a lot of clogs in our arteries. And you really want to make sure that you don't even add that to your daily dietary composition.
okay. Well, what do you think of vegetable oil? Because we hear too that vegetable oil, because it goes through that process of oxygen, whatever they do to it, hydrogenation.
That's vegetable oil. Corn oil is same as vegetable oil. So you really have to stay away from it. I mean, I personally make my own coconut oil, but again, you don't expect
Okay,
everybody
we
in
were
the
we
say that again. I can't hear you.
okay. We were having a conversation the other day about the olive oil, and you were questioning me whether I was sure that that was pure olive oil, and I could not answer you because I hadn't really thought about it. I just thought that if it said um, organic virgin olive oil, then I could trust it. And but I've always, thought about it and questioned whether some of the products that I saw from some stores, they cost a whole lot more, triple sometimes of what you see in some of those stores that claim to be organic olive oil. So,
Yeah, well, we all talk about organic and GMO, genetically modified organisms, but we really can't be sure because most of these food products are coming from places that we don't even know what are the components that they're put in them, and we just simply read the labels and believe that whatever the label says is what makes up the composition. But you look at garlic, for example, coming from China, and they tell you, or maybe corn, or maybe banana, and wherever they're coming from, they're telling you they are organic. But you are not there to really be able to prove that these have not been genetically modified. The olive oil, it was on the news that almost 95% of the olive oil on the shelf are not the real olive oil.
Oh my
And,
God.
and the fact that they're expensive does not make them the real olive oil as well.
Okay.
So because some people will make it expensive, maybe that would persuade you to think that you are consuming something that is real. And it's just a marketing strategy.
Okay. So what do you advise us to do if we want a healthy oil or something that's great, for our bodies and it's not synthetic or it hasn't been through any processing? What should we do?
Well, I don't want to have you go back to the olden days, but you may have to do a little bit of the whatever was there in the olden days by making sure that everything you eat, you know exactly what it's made up of. And don't just listen to what they say and, believe them, because they have a goal. And the goal is to be able to improve upon their supplies, so that they'll be able to match the supply with the demand, the market, that is at their disposal. And, they will do everything to increase the volume just so that they could make more profits. I mean, we all know what's going on. Back then, those who have lived to be over 100, most of them, if you ask them, they tell you they don't eat out. They don't eat all this fried food on daily basis. They cook their own food and live a less stressful life. And it helps. It helps to prolong life.
Wow.
So,
Okay. I really agree with you about a lot of that. And um, it takes a lot of effort to
to be
prepare
able to live
everything.
long. Yeah.
Yeah, and you prepare everything at home, most everything at home. Um, but I have another question for you. What about what we were talking about, things that are packaged that say organic? What about organic fruit and vegetables? What do you think about that as opposed to just buying what's considered just the regular fruit and vegetables? You
There's
think
actually
organic is better
there's
for
no there,
as organic?
I
Say,
we live in a country where you just you're vulnerable. Sometimes you buy stuff, they tell you they're organic and they all GMO. I mean, now you have seedless grapes, you have seedless oranges, and they tell you they're organic. No seeds. I mean, I mean that to me just seems like, well, how can you say that? When they don't have seed and you still telling us they're organic, they've been genetically modified to remove the seeds and then, of course, make it bigger just so that, and then with more sugar in it. Just, now you read bananas and banana is tasting pretty much like you're just taking a scoop of sugar and putting it in your mouth.
yeah,
Then the corn, you have sweet corn too. They're probably going to be telling you sweet corn is also organic when
yeah,
pretty much all sugar.
right. Now, something you brought up earlier, you said I guess I was just under the impression that places like Ghana and Togo, more some of the African countries, I was kind of thinking that they may eat healthier than we do. And because I was thinking the same, that a lot of their food wasn't so much processed. And but I guess I'm wrong because you mentioned that a lot of them, because of corn is a big part of their diet, corn and corn products.
Yeah,
But
that's pretty much that particular corn, as one of the very commonly consumed food types is actually the reason for that problem. They eat corn like 4 or 5 times a day. I mean, corn-based meal, and it's the Ghanaians, they eat like kenke, they eat banku, they eat akamu, they eat everything that's all corn-based. And corn, like I said, is maltose. Maltose is a disaccharide, and the monosaccharide in corn is glucose and glucose. And even if you're taking sugar, that is sucrose, you're literally eating straight sugar. You're still doing better than eating corn, because
wow.
more sucrose is glucose, fructose, and corn is glucose, the maltose there. And so it's more likely to cause you diabetes than just straight up sugar in your mouth.
Okay. So
Yeah. That explains why the prevalence of diabetes and other complications of diabetes are very high in those, population in West Africa. And then, of course, Hispanic.
So if you say you are diabetic and you want to heal away from there, is there a way that once you become a diabetic that you can get out of it?
You really have to have a level of discipline to be able to do that, because it's always very difficult to teach old dogs new tricks. You have to begin to think in terms of adding a lot of cinnamon, moringa, and other substances that have very high antioxidant content in them. Even vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin A. They're very high. They have very high, composition of, they very great, very good antioxidants, and they help. Anything of antioxidant property will help to improve your health. And that's something that, as a matter of fact, I want to tell you this, they even use vitamin C to cure cancer. But it has to be in high doses of vitamin C, and it has to be intravenous. But a lot of people don't know, and they don't even want you to know anyway, because there's so much going on in pharmaceutical industries that if you are vocal or too vocal about any particular consumption or food types that could actually help to remove some of these underlying health conditions, and that definitely would mean less profits for the pharmaceutical industries, and they don't want that.
And we know.
Exactly. So even what is going on now with Obamacare, they're trying to remove Obamacare. It's all about lobbying.
Right. Well, and just the fact that it's been labeled Obamacare instead of saying what it really is the Affordable Care Act. It's to put a negative connotation on it to make people think that is less something that should be less desired. It's and I talk about that a lot on this show, on this podcast, about why wouldn't you want the people to have health insurance? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Um,
What
they,
plan? Yeah, it's
they
just
they don't. It's like they just don't want the most vulnerable population, the black people, the Hispanic population, to have very good health status, and that situation there is forever going to keep them, you know, in the low cadre of human hierarchy, and
exactly.
and that's that's also will cause us to be more vulnerable and to to have very high mortality rates within our environment or community. And
Exactly.
that's what we're seeing right now of this COVID-19 with the disproportional death and all other bad things going on with the black population and the Hispanic population.
Yeah.
Because they keep us in a situation where our health will forever go, go downhill. And once your health is downhill, every other thing that every little disease is gonna target you, and then of course you will not have a very good immune system to be able to fight them.
Exactly. And I was thinking about that because a lot of people really, I mean, they're searching for ways to get healthy. They're searching for ways to not be a diabetic anymore, to get away from all the medication. And they're searching for ways to prevent hypertension. Do you have any advice even too for escaping hypertension?
The hypertension is stress related, and then of course you also have case of people. Almost every last person with diabetes would also develop hypertension. Because hypertension is all about whatever could actually mean stress. This society is very stressful to an average citizen, and we have places in Europe where they have to have a 2 hour of siesta every day,
Yeah.
and that's enforced. But America can go to sleep in a day because there are people who are so stressed, and they just some people work two, three, four jobs and
Yeah.
to be able to make ends meet because it's expensive, and there's a lot of hate going on and a lot of road rage, all that stuff, anxiety disorder problems
Hmm.
because people are trying to, be able to make something to be able to feed their own family, and they have to go through a great deal. But the only way is to relax and be able to manage stress, and then of course to watch whatever you eat, do a lot of exercise, and everything you eat, be sure to decrease your sugar intake and your salt intake as well, and make sure that you don't depend on everything that is canned. You
Yeah.
know, eat more natural stuff, and I'm sure you have a little bit of relief. You feel much better
Yeah.
than depending on everything that is made fast. And if it's made fast, it's not for you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, what is your diet like? Tell us what, say your dinner, what would that look like?
That's a very good question. At some point in time, sometimes if you're in Rome, you begin to, think and live like a Roman as well. But I still, I'm 64 years of age, and I don't have any underlying conditions. I don't have nothing to worry about. I take a lot of, vitamins, and everything I eat is pretty much fresh, at least to the best of my capability, because you go out and buy fish. The fish itself is all farm raised, and what do they put in the fish to raise them? Corn. And then you go and buy some chicken. What they put in the corn to raise them? Corn. And then, they even inject some steroids in them for them to be able to grow bigger, so that the sizes will be big enough and they'll be able to make more money. But you see, what I do is to be sure to cook every food I eat. And if I cannot explain what's inside the food, I keep it away from my mouth.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of water, and I use a lot of herbs. I do a lot of garlic and ginger, and as well as lime and lemon on daily basis. And then what about cloves? Cloves are very good for you too.
Wow. Okay.
You can probably make a combination of clove, ginger, and garlic, and blend it, and put something that we call kafra. It's something we use in Africa, and you could just blend it, add some water, and put a little bit of kafra in it, and just keep it. And every day you take maybe about half of a glass cup and drink it. I mean, I wake up feeling great.
Now, what is it? What's the product you just said?
I think it's called kafra. That you find it from the Mexican stores and African grocery stores. They sell it. I think it's used as a means to preserve, and it's very good too. Apparently it's something that will preserve, and then of course it has some kind of clinical benefits.
Okay. So is it round, or is it like how does
it's whitish, and it's a little thing. It's whitish, and it has a rectangular shape to it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can show you. I can show you what it is if you give me 1 second.
Okay.
1 second. This is what I make, and if you see that it has like 2 colors to it.
Yeah.
The one on the top is a little bit bitter, but it's made out of the combination of garlic, ginger, and cloves. And then I put one of this. This one comes in like, you look at it. Okay. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. I just put one in it, just to give it that. I guess it's like a preservative, and it's called kappa. So, but like I said, you find it at the African stores. They all carry it, and it doesn't cost maybe about $1 or $2 or so.
Okay. All right. And we were talking about an oil. You were telling me, well, you mentioned a coconut oil, but you said the
Yeah.
coconut that we would not be able to find it unless we went to an African store or Hispanic store. And you said that we could take that coconut and take the oil properties from that, and that would be better than all these other things that we're not sure if they're, real or not, the real deal.
If you go to every oncology cancer department in Nigerian hospitals, you'll find the coconut oil vendors all around the premises because they believe that coconut oil actually helps to resolve on cancer episodes. But to make coconut oil itself is not difficult. You just buy the coconut, you crack it open, remove the coconut and cut it to pieces and put in the blender and put some water, maybe to a level of about 1 or 2 inches above the level of coconut. And then you blend it and you use a filter and filter it out. The shaft, you throw it away. That water, you let it sit for between 8 to 12 hours. And then when you see that it's going to separate into the upper and the lower. The one, normally oil would always be on top, right? So you take a scoop out and you put it in your pot and just the top.
Yeah.
You put it in your pot and you cook it and you keep on stirring it. Always use the non-sticking pot and use a wooden stir and, just keep on stirring it. And at some point you see the oil form and, it will just simply separate from there's a little bit of crusty coconut. I still eat that too, but I filter the oil, put it in a jar, and then I eat the shaft, which is real soft and very.
Okay.
But you must make sure that it has started turning brown before because if it's not fully brown, by the time you about to separate the oil, there's still some more oil in the shaft after cooking it. So it must be completely brown, and then you can just simply, remove it from the pot and put it in a container, and that's it. That oil, if you do 1 spoonful or maybe 2 spoonfuls every day, this is what happens. Coconut oil is said to be made up of the middle chain fatty acid. It's actually said to be the mid-chain fatty acids, meaning that they are easy for your system to process. And then, of course, they have some kind of anti-inflammatory effect because if you're not using the real toxic oil, then you're not going to be having pain as much as people do. In this country, they eat a lot of vegetable oil, they fry, they do all that, and almost everybody is suffering with pain, and it just has become a chronic situation that they have to deal with on a daily basis.
Right. Okay. Well, you have any final thoughts for us? I mean, I've learned a lot. I took a couple pages of notes that I fully intend to use, especially the mixture of the cloves, the garlic, ginger, and the capra. And I'm gonna see if I can separate the coconut oil the way you're talking about doing. I'm gonna see can I do that. And
yeah, you just remove it from the crust, the cover, and then you just cut it to pieces so that it doesn't mess up your blender because it's hard. And you cut it to, and then you put it in the blender, some water to 1 inch or 2 inches above the level, and you blend it. And
Okay.
you'll be surprised. And once you start to make coconut oil, you're never going to buy one anymore because that one is the only one you can trust.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
use it for
And that,
skin. You use it. You can drink it. You can use it for, for your skin. You can put it on your hair. It's just multi-purpose. And like I said, it has some whatever is in it that does not actually promote inflammation. Inflammation is pain. If you are having inflammation, that means you're going to have pain. But if you have inflammation and there's no pain, that's cancer.
wow.
If you get any inflammation, anywhere that swells and it has no pain to it, it's cancer. Don't you know?
Well, that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just, we have so many things. Like when I started out the show today, we have so many things that we are battling. Um, and I just feel like the least thing that you can do to take control of is your lifestyle and how you prepare food and the foods that you select to eat.
Yeah.
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 So
A lot of people don't have any means to exercise. Some people pay for the gym and they never go there. And you know what I do, girl? I get in my bed. Even before I get up, I would lay on my back and I'll be pedaling bicycle in the air.
yeah.
You understand? And you can do push-ups right in your bed. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to get on the bike. You don't have to do nothing. Right there in your bed, you can do a lot of exercises. You could, and might not get you to a point where you're going to be all that sweaty, but you will feel different than if you do it. And
Yeah.
every exercise that you put in yourself actually helps your bowel movement as well as your blood circulation.
Right. I agree with you about that. Because I mean, my job before I retired, I sat most of the day. You had to sit and work. But they had us desks that we could raise and, so we could stand and not have to sit 8 hours or more. And it does make a difference if you stand and if you walk and if you, even if you stretch, if you never stretch your body out, you become extremely stiff and your muscles become extremely stiffen. And just simple things that you could do around the house, like you said, you could walk around the house. You can get up and just go outside and get some fresh air and walk just a few blocks. You definitely have to try to do something to keep yourself in motion. As the saying goes, a body in motion stays in motion. So
Yeah,
all of
the blood in your legs, you might want to ask, how do they make it back to your heart? It's because of the muscle. When your muscle move, they push the blood upwards by slow pace. That's why it's always good to have some form of exercise. If you're sedentary and you're not moving, then you're subject to developing blood clots, and that could actually be life-threatening.
right. Okay, well, thank you so much, Dr. Tunde. Thank you so much. I learned a lot from you today. And I always take the videos and share them on YouTube and all around. So thank you for your time and all your great advice.
If you have people with questions, we could address those questions at other times. It doesn't have to be. Because there might have been some questions that we didn't mention anything about.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, do you do you have like email or something that if they have questions that they could reach out to you or?
Yeah, sure, sure. You could always give them my email. It's atundeok@yahoo.com.
Oh, okay, that's easy.
Yeah.
All righty.
Some people say it's complex. It's complex. That is not that easy.
Oh,
some
that's
people kind of some people kind of pronounce my name.
okay. So it's just ATUN. Ooh, what? I can't even read my own writing. ATUNDEOK @yahoo.com.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
I'll be sure to put that up there. All righty, so that will pretty much do it for the show for today. I don't want to keep you too long because I know this is your day off and everybody loves to enjoy their day off. That's why I appreciate so much that you let me take an hour out of your time.
anytime, Gail. Anytime.
Okay. And for everybody who watched the show tonight or this afternoon, rather, thank you. And as I said earlier, please reach out to the show at Shy Panther Media Show. #1 at Gmail is one word, Shy Panther Media Show. Oh, Shy Panther and Friends. I'm giving you some mixed information. Sorry, guys. Shy Panther and Friends Show with the #1 at gmail.com. And that's it. Thank you. And please share and please like the page. Go to the website at shypanthermediagroup.org. Shypanthermediagroup.org. Leave your email so we can send out information to you, keep you updated with the show. We have a lot of great things coming in the future, so stick around, hang out with us, and thank you for your support. As always, take care of yourselves and take care of your neighbor, and God bless. Good night.
All right. Bye bye.
Okay, I'm gonna